Jake, do you have two quick ones? Do you have somebody in mind who you might call out after the fight on the 26th? Do you know your next move? I know you're very calculating when it comes to this.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of people out there still. KSI says he wants to fight me later on in the year. We'll see if he stops his capping. Nate Diaz is still running around. I think the Floyd fight is still interesting. So there's a lot of names out there after this fight.
And speaking of you being the great promoter, also, I know Francis Ngannou, he's looking for a promoter. Have you guys talked?
We have talked. Yeah,
Give me
we're
something,
trying
Jake.
to
Come
move.
on, buddy. Let's go.
So, yeah, no, the most valuable promotions team. We talked to Francis, and we think we can do a great job for him. And we share the same vision on a lot of things, and so hopefully Francis sees that as well. But regardless, we're going to always be there to support him. And on the MMA side of things, we're working on something too. So. Francis is a great guy, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for us together. I'm doing good, man. Same thing, different day. Just out here training, doing what I do best, and I'm excited for this fight coming up.
We are like 2 weeks away now. This thing is really close. How's training going? How are you feeling physically, mentally? How has preparation been, Jake?
It's good, man. It's really, really good. I've reached new levels, implemented new skills into this camp. And I'm excited to put that on display against a professional boxer from a legendary bloodline and a legendary family.
What'd you make of Tommy not being at the press event the other day?
It's typical Tommy behavior. It's unfortunate, because he's really just harming the event, harming the fans. And it's unprofessional. And I'm a bit sick of dealing with him on the business side of things, but 2 weeks from now, no one's ever going to have to hear his name again.
Do you believe that he will show up come February 26th?
I do. For sure. He's going to be there. I think he just didn't want to travel all the way to Saudi for the press conference from London to get in those extra days of training. But meanwhile, he was saying, "Oh, I don't even have to train to fight Jake," blah, 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 saying all this stuff. And then is telling my team like he doesn't want to go because he needs to train.
Now, I talked to Tommy the other day, Jake, and he says, I go, "Do you have a message for Jake Paul?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm going to send him home in an ambulance." Thoughts?
Yeah, look, I mean, he's a good fighter. He's fast. He has good range, good combinations, all of these things, but he doesn't have power. He doesn't have what it takes to stop me from coming at him and defeating him. So all of these things, I think he's playing a character. He's emulating his brother. He's saying things that his brother says, and his brother actually does it and backs it up. But Tommy, can barely knock out some of these taxi drivers that they're pulling off the side of the street to fight him. I'm his first real opponent, and it's going to be a rude awakening for him when he gets in the ring under those lights and someone like me is coming at him, punching him up and down nonstop. He's not going to like this sport.
Jake, do you believe that Tommy is your toughest opponent? You have obviously you've fought guys who have much bigger names, at least in the combat sports world, than Tommy. But like you said, quote unquote legit boxer. Is he the best opponent you've ever faced?
No, no, definitely not. Like Anderson Silva is one of the greatest strikers of all time. So if you took like a list and you made a list of like the greatest strikers of all time, Anderson Silva is in the top 3.
Yeah.
Tommy Fury's nowhere near anywhere on the list.
He's not in the top 3.
He's not in the top 3,000.
Will you guys, and I know I guess it's hard to say this before, do you think you guys will sort of hug it out, for lack of a better terms, after the fight and bury the beef and move past this drama that you guys have had for the last few years?
I mean, it really just depends how he feels about it. Like I've become friends with all of my opponents after I fought them, pretty much. Like I talked to Tyron Woodley, I talked to Nate Robinson, I talked to Anderson. So it's really however Tommy wants to deal with that. Like when he loses, I envision his ego is too big and he's a young kid, whereas the other opponents I've had are older, they're more mature, they're more emotionally developed.
Yeah.
I think Tommy's gonna probably take the loss pretty hard.
Is there a rematch clause in this contract? Will you have to fight him again if you win on
There's
February
not.
26th?
There's no rematch clause.
Now, bettors, the odds makers seem to think you're going to win. I looked; you're about a 2-1 favorite most places I see. Do you believe that's is that where it should be?
Yeah, yes, I definitely should be the favorite. It's just funny because he's been boxing his whole entire life. Has a better record, is taller, has a longer reach. So it's just funny to me that I'm the favorite.
You know, it's I can see people, Jake, and it seems like every fight you take, you get more and more respect. And I'm looking at stuff on social media, and it really feels like people are, if they weren't with you in the beginning, that they're really starting to take you seriously as a boxer, not just any ordinary fans, like real boxing people. I'm listening to Teddy Atlas talk about you the other day, talking about the power that you have and being really respectful of your skills. Do you get a sense that people are really really finally realizing that, hey, I'm a legitimate fighter?
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate that. And look, that's my job, is to prove it to them, you know. And my words were really loud at the beginning, and I probably was annoying to a lot of boxing people, and so I get that, but I always knew that I would back up my words with
Yeah.
action. And that's just what I'm doing now. And I'm getting better and better every single day. I love this sport so much. And I'm just going to continue to prove that and continue to get better.
You still love it as much as you did when you first started? It seems like you do.
No, 100, I'm loving it more
Really?
for different reasons. Like the deeper you get into it, the more fun it gets, because I think it becomes more challenging. I think that challenge is what's really interesting.
Like everything you've accomplished, it feels like this is your calling, the way you talk about the sport.
For sure, man. I really feel like I was put on earth to do this and to change the sport and to bring my platform to it, and to help fighters like Amanda Serrano, Ashton Silve, Shadeja Green get their spotlight, get the paydays that they deserve. Still working on the fighters union as we speak, and so I want to leave an imprint on this sport forever.